Day 92. Since April is going to be definitely the busiest month of this year, probably for me, I was thinking of creative ways to still participate and execute on this daily painting, but also maybe make it a little bit more seamless. And honestly, one of the biggest things when taking this project on, and the inspirations was it from this person I have on Instagram, or I follow on Instagram, and he actually made a similar canvas with different shades of color and how he's feeling each day. And that's what I'm going to kind of do with April, where I'm going to be painting different shades of white and black and gray to convey the type of day or the type of emotion that I was feeling. So that's the concept that I'm taking into this year, or not this year, this month, to make it easy but still participate and add to the canvas in a way that still pertains to the original goal and what it means to put paint on the canvas for this year. All right, now that I finally learned how to correctly measure, I've marked every single spot for this month where I'm just going to paint a shade, and today's going to be kind of a middle gray. It was an average day, you know. There's day 1 of April. Day 93. I'm going to do the same kind of shade of gray as yesterday, but I'm going to add little kind of white dots because it was quite rainy today and all the rain kind of stuck to the windows, so I'm just going to add that as a kind of slight touch to make it more interesting than yesterday. Looks more like a domino than raindrops, I guess, but I know what they are, and I guess that's all that matters. Day 94. I'm going to do a little lighter gray than yesterday since it was a little bit more interesting and more fun. I went and bought some wood, took some photos, got some work done, so it was an overall solid day, but just not as exciting as what I'd put as an amazing day. So that's what I'm going to do, just a lighter gray. There it is, all in its glory. Light gray. Day 95. It's been a very busy and filled, I guess, week so far, so I am definitely at my ends with energy, and along with that, I feel like the best way to apply that in a gray scale would be in a dark gray. So that's the shade we're doing, a darker gray, and pretty simple, so let's do it. Definitely not a horrible day, just completely drained of energy and at a lower frequency. Day 97. It was a productive day, nothing too special. Everything went to plan, so I'd say I'm gonna go with a little bit lighter than mid-gray, but not as light as 2 days ago. But that's about it, nothing special for today. Another one in the books. Day 97. Yet another normal day, but I would say better than average, so I'm going to go with a light gray again, maybe a little bit lighter than yesterday's, so simple yet short, hopefully. Just another day down. Day 98. Today was a really, I guess, low day versus the rest of the days previous because I just haven't had the time to rest. So it was one of those Mondays that was just a drag, kind of. But still not bad. I got as much done as I possibly could, but it was just one of those days where I was like, I just need to rest. So I'm just going to do a little bit lighter than, or not lighter, darker than middle gray. Well, hopefully, since I kind of took today as a rest day and didn't push any farther, that today, or I guess tomorrow will be better. Day 99. Today was yet another one behind the computer screen. Nothing much to report other than thank God I'm involved in projects and work that I'm excited about and not just copious amounts of boring work. So that's what's keeping me going, not just doing a bunch of work that doesn't make me, I guess, fulfilled at the end of the day. But regarding that, today's going to be more of a middle gray just because, nothing too important happened, and I don't know. It was just another day of 2025. Well, at least today I had absolutely no problems with my computer or technical difficulties, so I can be thankful for that at least. Day 100. I've officially made it to the triple digits, and today was quite an eventful day. So I'm glad it kind of lines up where I can, have an interesting day with an interesting, what's it called? Milestone? Yeah, milestone. A lot of things happened. Oil change, went to the gardening store, went and worked at cafe, did some computer work, then went back home, and then headed to the workshop to do some work on my project. And then I went to the darkroom to print some photos. Then I went back to the workshop to do some more work and get some help on my project. So very eventful day, and so it was a great day. I'd say very productive, did a lot of things that I enjoy, but at the end of the day I'm completely tired. As you can tell, I can barely speak. So I'm going to do a slight gradient from dark to light, or I guess maybe a dark part at the bottom and the light being up top. Well, I do really like how this one turned out, kind of bleeding the dark to the light. Simple gradient technique, but different than the past days, I guess. Day 101. Zoe 101. Best show ever, by the way. Today was a solid day. I felt like today was kind of a tipping point, or maybe it felt like a tipping point more than it is. I guess just having the pendulum start to maybe shift the other direction and go more my way, but I'm going to be drawing kind of a spire within a light gray, a lighter tone, and then leave the inside of the quote triangle or whatever I'm going to be painting white. So yeah, that's my day, and we'll see if I can execute this. I think it does its job, It's a pretty simple triangle in light gray, whatever. So hopefully the pendulum keeps swinging my way. Day 102. As you can see, I'm doing something abnormal, and that's shooting kind of in the middle of the day, and I'm doing that because I will be leaving out of town in a couple days, and I wanted to get caught up on painting. So today, or the day I'm painting for a couple days ago, was pretty solid. Did some work downtown Minneapolis, talked to some people, picked some books up for my trip, and so I would say a better than average day. And so I'm gonna just do kind of a little bit lighter than middle gray. Gosh darn it. Well, gotta be careful of the charcoal getting ruining my past paintings. Day 103. Today was an extremely good day. I got pretty much 3/4 of the way through, and I hit all the things that I needed to get done for the week. And so I decided I have a lot of energy left. I'm going to go to the shop and get some work done. And so I got there, took my slab out, and it was warped. So that kind of killed the mood of my momentum of the day. But I still did what I could, and I don't know what I'm going to do still with that slab or going forward, because it's the third big piece of wood that I've messed up. But this one isn't completely done or screwed. So I just got to figure out a way of how I'm going to prevent or make it work. So I'm gonna do a light gray and maybe a little black on the bottom. I don't know, we'll see. All I really hope for is that I can find a solution to make this project come to an end. It's been like 6 months now, so hopefully maybe painting can do that, bring me clarity. Day 104. Today was good so far. I mean, I'm only kind of halfway through, but the rest of the day is kind of lackadaisical and not much. So I think I'm just gonna try to paint this light streak that's coming through. I'm gonna do a light gray and then leave part of it, maybe this bottom part where the bare canvas is at, to kind of mock the light that's hitting the canvas. It's quite hard to get a straight white with painting on top of charcoal, but I guess there's a little bit of the canvas showing. Day 105. I'm back from my trip to Indiana. I'm gonna be catching up on the days that I obviously wasn't here painting. And so today I'm gonna be covering the day of transit from Minnesota to Indiana, which was like a 9-hour road trip, stopping in Chicago once, and went pretty smooth. I had a decent amount of energy and got there on time, so I'm gonna do a lighter gray just above middle gray. Just another day, normal gray, but what else is there to do when you're on the road for 9 hours of the day? Day 106. Today was the first full day in Columbus, and I pretty much took the day to kind of get a decent amount of energy since driving kind of took it out of me, but pretty much just wandering around the town to observe the different pieces of architecture throughout the town. And I'd say that's a pretty optimal day, as well as just sitting around and reading and doing whatever I feel like. So I'm gonna go with a definite light gray. With this being a successful trip, there's gonna be a lot of light grays in it, so glad it turned out that way. Day 107. Was spending most of my day outside for the first time since it's much warmer in Indiana than up here. All the flowers have bloomed and everything, so I spent the day by the river. First time really kind of sunbathing, so today was definitely a light gray day. Day 108. Today was my last full day in Columbus. I spent it looking at all the buildings and different places that I want to go that I haven't yet gone to. So yet again, another great day to be on vacation, but obviously it's coming to an end today. So yet another light gray. All good things must come to an end, and this trip has come to an end, obviously. Day 109. Today was spent entirely on the road. Starting in Columbus back to Minnesota, it takes around 9 hours straight, and it took me 12 hours. For some reason, I woke up really early unintentionally, and so I was dozing off midway through and had to stop, as well as Chicago being a pain in the butt to get through. So coming back to reality off of vacation, it's going to be a middle gray. I guess it's time to come back to reality. Yippee-ki-yay. Day 110. Today I felt almost jet lagged from all the driving I did yesterday, and I am just acclimating to, I don't know, not sleeping in and everything, but definitely not feeling the greatest. So I'm going to go with a darker gray today. Day 111. Today was Easter. Obviously, being with the the whole family and everything definitely made it a better day, but I'm still feeling quite under the weather. I don't know if that's just, again, coming off a vacation or anything, but I'm just gonna do a normal middle gray for today's shade. Next week is the new week, and hopefully I can turn this kind of slump around. Day 112. Today I'm still feeling pretty slumped, or maybe it's just because the week ahead is kind of chaotic, but I still feel weird coming back from vacation and everything, so I'm gonna be doing a shade darker than, I would say, middle gray. Well, it's gonna be a crazy week ahead. Day 113. Today, it was a solid day so far. It's just the ever looming event that is coming upon me is, I guess, I don't know, making me a little anxious. So I think today's shade is going to be like a lighter gray, and then at the bottom kind of somehow fading or dark, because I feel like there's just something pulling me towards that way. Well, looking at it from afar, the end of April isn't looking too bright. Day 114. Today is, I guess, the day I'm catching up on paintings, just because this is after the big event that came at the last couple days, so catching up on what I couldn't do because it was so chaotic. But today was the day prior to this big event, and everything was kind of just spiraling because I also had my first sculpture kind of day for my third and final sculpture, so I had to drive out 40 minutes to get to that and then drive back, and everything was just in a haze. So I'm gonna do some sort of spiral, maybe some light background and a spiral inside for today's paint. Well, I think it turned out pretty well. It's kind of looking a little abstract inside, and I feel like it should be blown up like super huge, but I think it does the job for today. Day 115. It was very rainy and gloomy today, and so I want to try to make this shade a kind of a fuzzy, I don't know, soft look. Somehow I can maybe, instead of brushing the paint on the canvas, I can touch it. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm going to try to make it like a soft, gloomy, maybe a darker gray to emphasize the spring weather that was today. Well, I can say the last 3 days of gradients, or I guess shades that I've done, they're more mini abstracts, but I guess just how I'm feeling. Day 116. Today was the first day of the event, and because, like I said in my previous videos, it was like 12-hour days, really, and there's no way I was going to be trying to paint after all that. So I'm a couple days after the 3-day event, and I'm now going to be painting about those days and catching up. But today and the next 2 days, we're all kind of the same feeling of just kind of adrenaline, and I wouldn't say there's negative or positive emotions. It was just kind of running around like a chicken. So I'm just going to do like a middle gray with both white and black streaks for probably all 3 days. So we'll see how I really actually do like how this one turned out. Just kind of melded them together in an X shape, and it looks pretty natural. Day 117. Today, just like yesterday, I'm going to do the same concept just because same feeling of just a kind of gradient of two light and dark shadows, I guess. Well, it wasn't as sharp as, I guess, yesterday's gradient, but I think it shows the contrast of the good and bad of what today felt like. Day 118. Still, these last 2 days have been the same kind of concept and feeling, so I think I'm going to go horizontal with this gradient or the different colors, but I guess we'll just go with the flow. I was looking at it and it was kind of looking pretty bland, so I added this vertical and horizontal to connect it. I kind of see it as a silver lining, which I hope kind of correlates with what's currently going on. Day 119. Unlike the past, I guess, week or so, I'm actually just doing a regular shade. Pretty much just laid around and took one long nap. I guess I was awake for that nap, but it was a very lazy day just to try to recover from the past couple weeks of just pure work. So a little darker than middle gray. Just 2 more days and I'm done. Day 120, second to last day of May. And I do feel a lot better than yesterday. Obviously, I took yesterday as a complete off day. But yet again, I took another midday nap and I kind of feel back to normal energy levels. So I'm going to have, I would say, a little bit lighter than mid-gray as today's shade. I would be lying if these last 3 being different sizes didn't annoy me, but looking at all of them, I guess they're all just a little bit different and off. But yeah, 1 more day, I guess. Day 121. Well, today is the last day of May. That means it's the last day of doing this, I guess, gray palette theme for this month, just to relieve the chaotic and lack of time I might have to delegate to painting and new painting every day. Today I'm going to be ending on a light gray because I was reviewing this past month, and even though many things didn't go, I would say, swimmingly, there's a lot of great moments and I feel like I did what I could control, so I'll take that as a win. And I'm still doing this project, which has been, it's been a challenge, especially this month. Going on vacation and then coming back to all these paintings that I gotta do. I guess they're the easy ones, but I'm satisfied with this month, even though, like I said, wasn't the greatest month. But I guess these past months have just not been great. Objectively. Subjectively? I don't know. Whatever. Light gray is what it's going to be today. Well, that's it for me. I guess I'm kind of officially a quarter of the way through the year. I hope to keep this, I guess, line of shades. I don't think I'm going to paint over it because I think it might look cool in the final painting as a kind of anchor point. But I do plan to paint all against these 2, I guess, diagonal lines. But I think this was the perfect month to do this just because of how crazy it was. And it wasn't a lot to really paint, but I guess I'm back to normal painting tomorrow.